What is happening, everybody? Steve here, Rake and Profit. Hopefully, you guys are having a great night here with my buddies at the Wholesale Formula. We got Dan the Man, Dan Mitters in the house, the Jenga master. And we have Eric Lambert. What's going on, Eric? Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, he's the master. I'm the champion. Yeah, it's great. It's glad to be here.
Did you not? You knocked him over, right?
Well, you were cheating the entire time, as it turns out.
Oh, come on.
So,
I love the camaraderie that you guys have together. It's definitely a good time. But yeah, in today's video, we're going to be talking about some advanced wholesale strategies. These guys started selling on Amazon in 2011, and they started with a lot of traditional sourcing methods. They got into thrifting, and they hit the retail arbitrage pretty hard. And in 2011, I believe, based on the story I was reading, you guys had like $600. And up until this date, fast forward 2017, you guys actually did $7 million in sales last year. And Dan threw out a pretty big number. I don't know, Eric, if you agree with this number, because he was getting pretty cocky. He says, we're going to do 10 million, or he's shooting for 10.
Well, I feel like, as long as he doesn't hamstring us too much, I think we can get there.
So these guys have been around the block. Started in 2011, been doing this for about 6 years now. They're heavy into wholesale, I believe 100% wholesale now. And yeah, we're going to be talking about some advanced strategies wholesale. You guys want to say hello and introduce yourselves a little more and kind of fill in the blanks?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy. The good looking one, I'm Eric, and the brains and just all the things that, you want in a company. Dan is he's basically what you call grunt work, and so he's here with me, and but we do have a great partnership, and it's one of the things that we do work hard and we play hard too, and it's nice when you have somebody that you respect and work with on a day-to-day basis. So all jokes aside, it's a great guy, and it's a lot of fun.
I mean, he's like hanging out with my much older brother.
It's a good time. It's definitely, you can get lonely at times in business, especially if you're not working with anybody. I mean, I love working with others and partnerships. I mean, there's the good and the bad, but looks like you guys are definitely working it out. So yeah, glad to have you guys here. So right now, it looks like we've got about 121 people watching live right now, and we appreciate you guys coming. If you guys are excited for the show and you're pumped up to learn some advanced techniques about wholesale, smash that like button, guys. Let's see how many likes we can get. We got 126 people watching. I mean, we should get up to 100 likes pretty quick. Also, I want to mention at the end of the show, we're going to be talking about a little bonus incentive that the Green Room's giving away, because you guys are actually launching your course tonight, right?
Yeah, it goes. It's available for purchase, I believe, at midnight EST. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The Wholesale Formula. And you guys don't actually open up this course often. It's not one of those courses that are open up all year long. How long do you guys open this course up for during the year?
We open it twice a year, generally January and July, maybe August. So yeah, it's so that people can move along as a community together. You got, if you got people, because we, part of it is our, private Facebook group. And there's some great interaction there. But if you always, every week had 2 or 3 newcomers always asking the same questions, and, it would kind of derail the nice, moving forward as a little group, a little community. So, and it's taught, similar to a college course and structured that way. So that's why we do it that way.
I was just going to say that it's just like a college course. That's really, really cool. So that's opening tonight at midnight, and we're going to talk about it at the end of the show. But if you guys do purchase that course, myself and the Green Room, we are an affiliate for the course, and I've actually been going through it, and it's really cool. I'm excited to continue going through it. We are going to throw in a $500 value bonus package if you get the course, and we've never done that before. Myself and the Green Room, I think we've only promoted maybe 1 or 2 courses in the last 4 years, so we never ever promote courses, and this is our first bonus package we've ever done. So hint, one of the things is going to be a free year to the Green Room, but we're going to talk about that at the end. Let's dive into the show, guys. Let's talk about some advanced techniques. So let's start off with the first question, and I'll throw this out to you, Eric.
Okay.
Oh, put you on the hot seat, man. Since you
he's going to wreck us. He's going to wreck us.
But the problem is it's going to be all downhill from here.
Oh, man. All right.
From that, it's
So, Eric, what systems do you have in place for managing your various wholesale deals and partnerships? We're diving just right into the advanced right now, because as your inventory grows and you build more and more relationships and, you build more partnerships, how in the world do you manage all of that? Because I'm sure there's a lot of moving parts. So maybe you could start with like all the different moving parts or some of the things that you have to manage and then how you kind of keep that spinning, right?
Well, the good thing, or the thing is, and to be completely truthful, my answer is not going to be very good for you because my employee that handles that is much like when I was doing it, it was literally a Google Doc spreadsheet. I mean, I'm just saying, that's, and he's, we've trained him and he's developed strategies and he's the one that's the point of contact for them. And I know that he's got his little database, and I don't even know.
I can answer this one. That's a supply side question, and Eric actually has no idea about the supply side.
Well, literally, when I did it, it was like 15 lines in a Google Doc. Last time I was contacting suppliers and stuff.
So we use we use various systems. Once we onboard with a supplier, like they start selling us product. We manage that through Restock Pro. Now, we did do it through Google Docs for a long time because, if you're only ordering, we only order like once a month and we try to buy about a month's supply. So whenever we're, working with 10 or 15 companies, it's not very hard to balance. You just know you need to reorder roughly on this date. You start checking your inventory. Well, as that continue to grow, as you're growing, it can get crazy because, we carry at this point like 650-ish products. So Restock Pro, now what that does is it manages, you can leave notes and all kinds of stuff about, reminders in there, but it also monitors our stock levels on Amazon.
Oh, wow.
And it tells us, it'll send us an alert and be like, hey guys, you're getting ready to sell out of this. Like, you need to go ahead and place that reorder. So, that thing has been honestly a godsend. As soon as we started using it, our revenues immediately jumped about 10 to 15%, and it's because we stopped selling out of stuff so often.
Because if you don't have, like, for example, say you have, a hot selling item and you're out of stock, you're not making money. I know with private label, if you run out of stock, there could be some negative consequences. If you run out of stock, are there any negative consequences besides obviously the monetary standpoint?
It factors in, nobody really knows how much it factors in, but it definitely is a factor in the buy
box, right?
But it's not like private label though. It's completely detrimental in private label because if there's nobody selling the product, that sales rank plummets. If we're out of the equation, there's still people that sales rank still maintaining. So you may have some negative relationships with your vendor. They may not like to see you go out of stock or find out that you've been out of stock, or some small, but it's detrimental. It's really bad for private label.
It's crushing. It's crushing.
With wholesale, everything stays constant. You're just not making money, which is not a good place to be anyway. That's deflating enough.
So what was that tool again? Because I want to make sure everybody knows what that tool was that you're using that kind of keeps you on track with your inventory stock.
Restock Pro.
Now, and the caveat is that you have to be doing a pretty good volume. Like he says, when you've got 30 to 40 to 50 SKUs, it's not that big a deal. We're currently, I don't know if it'll come up later, but currently we have about 600 SKUs actively in stock with about 700 that we're actively stocking that may be out at the distributor level. I mean, at the wholesale level or whatever. But so when you get to that level, you just need to start having some automation.
Awesome. Cool. Now, would you recommend when somebody's getting started into wholesale, and I'm actually going through a course right now, when I finally go pull the trigger to get my first deal under my belt and maybe within the next couple months, do you recommend that obviously I'm going to reach out to a bunch of different companies like we talked about in the first video, but do you recommend that I try to focus on building up a partnership with one person and trying to get as many products from them wholesale, or do you recommend, and has your business model been more towards the route of building as many partnerships as possible? Do you see any pros and cons to that?
Well, here's the great part is honestly, I feel like you can try your best to go wide, but it's going to be hard enough to get accepted that you're going to be fairly limited in the amount of people that want to work with you initially. And that's, it's a blessing and a curse because it's going to let you work a lot closer with those vendors. But maybe you get accepted by 3 or 4. Here's the thing: when you get accepted by those first few, whatever you told them you were going to do, and however you think you can help them, do it, document it, show them you did it, and I promise you it will pay off in spades. Most people forget about most people a lot of people don't follow through. Then the next batch of people actually follow through, but they don't show them that they followed through, and it becomes less pressed into their minds. But like when you do it and then you show it to them, they love you for it.
I think you're muted still. We haven't no mic.
Sorry about that.
No
Forgot. I'm looking through I'm glad somebody mentioned it, right? Because I would just keep going. I'm looking through the comments right now, and we've got a bunch of people that are leaving comments. It's going pretty quick. Here's a question from Bert. Can you expand more on why going out of stock private label is such a huge problem? Now, I know you don't. Do you do any private label right now?
We've done enough to have experience. No, we don't do any right now, but we've done it. We've carried a few products and stuff. It's because you're not getting sales in the sales rank. All the effort you put forth to get your product relevant, and in the search engine, you're out of stock, so that product doesn't even exist on Amazon. So all of your competitors are now converting and getting sales, and so of course being out of stock a day or two. But you're talking about when you talk about listing too. I mean, I remember we had a great selling product. In fact, it got up to like 500. Or it got lower than that actually around Christmas in toys and games. Went out of stock for something like 2-3 weeks. That thing was down in the 30,000, 40,000 rank. So it's like you lose sales rank, you lose relevancy, and then the thing I don't want to get into strategies of private label. The way we did it, you had to do a lot of cost per click advertising, a lot of promotion to get
PPC,
it. So you have to reinvest that money again to become. So that your organic conversion becomes real again. So I guess that's kind of what I meant with that.
Cool. Awesome. Mike P is asking, is it possible to start wholesale from home? Because there's a lot of people who, they might watch your videos and they might be thinking to themselves like, well, lucky for them, they've got a huge warehouse the size of, Marshall's. I have a little 600 square foot apartment, and, I've only got $5,000 or $10,000 in the bank. Maybe I've got just enough to kind of get this going and have a little room and wiggle room. Like I don't have, enough money for a warehouse or space. Is it possible? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Here's the thing. I actually envy you for this person for not having a warehouse. Like having a warehouse, it brings a lot of problems.
It's a liability.
Right. Like, I mean, first off, it's expensive. There's a lot of expenses that go into it. And then it's, you just have to, you're always having to be involved in something. Whereas if you're working from home, like you only really have to be involved with yourself, or like, I would still be involved with this Yahoo, but yeah, I mean, we actually suggest go through prep centers. Those just weren't an option when we started. And at that point we already had thousands and thousands of dollars in equipment and all the stuff we needed.
Now, will your audience know what he means when he says prep center? Do you want me to?
I believe they do, but you might want to just go over that one more time for the folks who don't know what a prep center is, because it's huge. Like it could change the game for new folks out there.
Yeah. So what instead, like, for us, we receive our products here at our warehouse and we bubble wrap them, we polybag them, we get them in compliance with the FBA Fulfillment by Amazon program, which is what we use exclusively. So we send the products to Amazon's warehouse, and then when the end user buys them, they're shipped to them. So we do all what we call prepping here. Well, a prep center is you have it sent from the manufacturer rather than to your house, or here it would go to the prep center. Now the prep center charges you a fee, generally a per item fee or something. They have different structures, but they charge you a fee to get that product in compliance with FBA inbound protocol. And then they ship it into the FBA fulfillment centers for you. So you literally don't even have to touch, polybag, bubble wrap, any of these things that Dan and I have done way too many times to count over the years. You would never even have to do that. And that's what the point Dan was making when he says he envies this, because these opportunities didn't exist. If you wanted to scale in hours, that meant getting a warehouse, getting employees, you getting, this set up. So it is a bit enviable. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's probably nice to keep the overhead down and the liability as well. I mean, with the employees, I'm sure at the end of the day, I mean, when you go to sleep, you're providing, an income for these folks. And I'm sure they become like family to you when you work with an employee long enough. It's not even an employee, it's like a teammate. And there's probably a lot of pressure, and I'm sure you guys are even thinking about it, like, down the road. But anyways, that's a whole nother story. I appreciate the insight. Let's see. We have 179 people watching live. So if you guys are just coming in, welcome. We're here with Eric and Dan from the Wholesale Formula. We're talking a little bit of advanced wholesale techniques. If you guys want some of the more basic stuff, check out my previous video with these guys it's about a week ago, right, Dan?
Yep.
We covered a lot of the basic stuff. Here, we got a question from Trevor Stevens, and I'll throw this at you, Dan the man. Could you create relationships with manufacturers through email instead of phone calls? I'm way better with my wording when I type.
This is going to blow your mind. All of our initial contact is done through email. And here's the logic behind that. You will convert higher on the phone. And that, luckily, that's a learnable skill. Like you get better at it. Every time you do it, you're going to get better at it. But there are a lot of people that are just going to say yes to that email. So we don't want to spend that extra time to go through the phone call process, because it does take a lot more time. But yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, this segues actually nicely too, in terms of like you're going to sooner or later, if you want to have good success, you're going to have to ring somebody up on the phone. You're going to have to call them. So that is also one of the reasons that we suggest you start in a niche or category that you're passionate about or have some knowledge about, because there's already going to be, no matter how good you think you are, there's just natural nerves. It's just human nature. You know, experience isn't something you get until just after you need it. So you have to put in the time. You know, sometimes it's just making those phone calls. So if you have some common ground, something you can speak their language, talk, you know, about, not necessarily even their product, just similar products, you've been in that space, it'll make it much easier, it'll flow more comfortably, and it's just something you'll learn. And as Dan says, it is a learnable skill, and that just helps eliminate some of the learning curve.
Like, to give you an example, Eric started out, I mean, he was our manicure expert. He dealt with all the lotions and manicure stuff.
What's on the hair care products?
Hair care products.
I knew it. Now, in your course that you guys have that's going to be launching tonight at midnight, do you guys talk about, you know, like making that first phone call or sending out that first email? Because that's kind of one of the things that I've been concerned about. And that's how I felt when I was going into private label, messaging the people on Alibaba. Like, it was so scary for me. Like, I was freaking out. Then after I did it, because I went through a course, I was part of Andy Slamman's private label course, which was phenomenal. I went through the process, learned from him, and thank God I went through that course, because I never would have figured out the right things to say. You know, is that mentioned in your course, and is it pretty easy once you go through it?
I'm pretty sure there's email templates that are exactly what we said, right?
Yeah. As far as emails, absolutely. Then with phone calls, oh yeah. I mean, we definitely cover it. And here's the thing: is we update our course a lot, and it's based on our internal operations. Like, we test our strategies and changes internally, and then put them in the course. And we're actually uploading one of the new course videos probably in the next few days. That is, I mean, honestly, been unbelievable in terms of how our effectiveness on phone calls.
You have a lot of videos. Like, how many videos are total in that course? Like, because I was like just diving through it over the last couple of weeks, and I'm like, holy mackerel.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few.
But don't get intimidated. It's extensive, but it's not. You know, like, you have to know. It's just so that you can clearly understand it. It's in depth, but it's not. You know, the general consensus of the concept is easy to understand. There's so many of them, so that you can really get a good grasp on it.
We got a question from Brian. I'll throw this at you, Eric. Question: do you need to be engaged before you acquire a wholesale deal? Say, for example, you know, you're looking at maybe, let's just say Nike, right? Just for an example. Sure. And most people they're blocked off right now. Do you need to get engaged first before you get that deal, or do you get the deal and then get the I forget what the terminology is, the proof?
Yeah, you get invoices from the manufacturer. Yeah, that's the catch-22, is that you're going to have to do that. You're going to need some invoices, some orders. Was it 3? They require 3 invoices?
Yeah, to get engaged in a category, they require 3 invoices.
Yeah.
And, you know, but here's the beautiful thing. Wholesale is the only way to get those invoices. Like, you're going to have to be doing it anyway,
right? If
you want to get engaged. And it's not hard to do. It's not intimidating. And if you do, if you just go place those orders, find 3 products. And this is why we always suggest go to the manufacturer. Is Amazon. There's some distributors that Amazon doesn't value in terms of their validity, but they always value the manufacturer. Like, if you go manufacturer direct and place 3 orders with 3 manufacturers, 30 units each, they will engage you.
Cool. Perfect. I have another question for you. And just so you folks know, if you're watching live right now, leave a comment down below. I've got my screen split in half, so I'm looking at these guys, and I'm looking at the comments as well. So if you guys have any questions, ask away. I mean, these guys did $7 million in sales last year, and it's just, so many times I have these live videos and shows, and we're talking to somebody who, maybe they're making 5,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 a month, but we're talking millions. So if you have a question, small, medium, or large, just ask away. Do you have any advanced tips for dealing with competition? Because one of the issues that I was concerned with, and obviously I don't have any experience with wholesale, so I don't really know, but this is just one of my things, like one of the blocks in my mind is like, why even do wholesale when anybody could? This is just how my mind thinks. Like, maybe it's wrong. Can't anyone just come in and just start selling it? Like, isn't there going to be just as much competition as, a thrifted item? So is that true? Yes or no? And if the competition starts to come in, Dan, what can you do to separate yourself from the crowd? Is there anything you can do?
So this is why we gravitated toward the model of wholesale that we do. If you do a model that where you take, the more typical model is to deal with a distributor, deal with a just traditional wholesaler,
like ASD. Like everyone who goes to ASD,
like ASD.
Okay.
Now let's say that me and you are at ASD, separate companies, right? And you go up and place an order. If I go up and place a bigger order, I'm effectively a better customer than you. Those vendors want to move units. I'm going to get a better deal. I'm going to have a better price, and that's what they care about. Now, do competitors come in on those kinds of products? Oh yeah, and some of them will eat your lunch. I mean, that's part of it. But we focus on working direct with the brand. Now, brands don't typically work like that.
Is that the manufacturer? When you say I'm working with the brand, you're working with the manufacturer?
Yeah, we've started making that differentiation because some people were getting confused when we say manufacturer. They sometimes think that the plant where it's actually made,
the factory,
right? The factory where it's made is not necessarily, it's the brand, the person that owns the brand. Like you mentioned, Nike. That's stationed in Oregon. That's where we contact. We wouldn't contact the Chinese person or manufacturer putting it together.
Mm.
So that's why we kind of brand owner, the person. And a lot of these are niche, smaller things, and they're made in house. So they are brand owner and the actual manufacturing plant are, in the same facility, but it's not always the case. So that's why we use the term brand owner.
So whenever you're dealing with brand owners, they honestly care more about their brand than doing a huge order. Like they realize that their brand is what's going to make them money for years to come. So in that regard, we want to work with. I love being told no. Whenever I call a brand owner and they're like, hey, man, we're not taking any more Amazon sellers, that gets me excited because I realize that they have high standards for what they expect.
So they don't want to dilute their brand. Is that part of it?
Right.
Yes. So in that regard, if you're dealing with the right vendors, then you don't see that happen, to be perfectly honest with you. It just doesn't happen. Now, if you see it with, say, or if you're dealing with vendors that only care about order size, oh yeah, I mean it's going to happen. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and that's what it is.
So, have you ever worked with a brand who said no, and there was maybe only a couple sellers? You jump on the listing, there's only a couple sellers, and then either A, you see Amazon walk on in, and you're like, whoa, how did they get here? Or B, you start seeing multiple sellers jumping on rapidly. Have you ever been in that situation before, and how did you handle it?
That's part of having a great relationship with your manufacturer. Like when we see that happen, like the first thing we do is pick up the phones, like, hey, you guys realize there's a whole batch of new people selling this product, and a lot of the time they're like, no, man, didn't realize it. They'll start sending out the cease and desist and finding out what happened to their supply chain. So that's that's what we want. Now, in the instance, let's say that happened, and they're like, yeah, we just decided we're going to sell to any Yahoo. Then
and we cut the price and we're done with the product.
Right, like I'll get out of it and never restock it again.
And that's why I think you guys said last show, Dan, you were saying you'll only buy 30 days worth of inventory, and is that to kind of protect yourself against all the different factors that could come your way, right? Obviously, you're building that relationship, so you're assuming it's not, but it's possible, right? So is that why you keep the 30 days of inventory?
Well, it definitely reduces risk, but it also reduces capital outlay. So effectively, what I'm saying is, I don't have to have a ton of money to get into it if I'm only buying 30-day supplies. but it also has the added benefit of being insulation versus risk.
In the event that the low percent or the low chance that things go south.
Do you ever notice that? And I want to jump on to the next question, but I have one more question pertaining to this. Do you ever notice that? Because I was talking to my mother about this business model, because she's getting to the point where she's having a harder time finding as much as she wants, and she wants to make more. She wants to retire. And I was talking to her about wholesale, and she actually said a good question to me. She says, well, and I'm going to paraphrase, well, Stephen, what's going to stop people from fighting on prices like they are with the books? Aren't the prices just going to get chopped all the way down? And she said it in that voice, and I'm like, I don't have an answer for you. I don't know. So
I have a great answer for you, and it's the reason. If you watch these videos, you'll see the type of products we carry have consistent and steady sales over the course of a long period of time. So, if it's ranked, it's in between 5,000 and 6,000 sales rank in a category for the, using Keepa or whatever historical data site. There's plenty of them out there, and that it's going to sell. That this product is going to sell. And so what that allows is price stability, because people are selling through their inventory, and it just continues to perpetuate sales. And then another thing too is that we may be a little better. Dan may be able to work out a little bit more of a deal than perhaps you are when you first contact the manufacturer, but it's a small amount. It's 5% maybe, if we're really lucky, 10%. But it's not enough to where I could just destroy your price and continue to make money. It's not like books can vary. You picked yours up at a Goodwill for 10 cents, and somebody else may have paid, $10 for it, and you're only clearing 15. So they can only come down to about $10, and you've still got plenty of margin. And it sells slower too. So it pays to be lowering the price, because the book may sell, if you're lucky, 2 to 3 times a month. In general, of course, I know textbooks are different, but I'm just saying as a concept, ours sell consistently, and then a price variation is pretty much fixed. So people are not going to be just lowering the price and losing money for an extended period of time, because you're talking about losing lots of money on a lot of sales. I mean, we target products in the videos we suggest 90 times a month. So,
here's the thing. I also want to help Mama Reagan.
Help her out, man. Call her out right now. Let her know.
All right, Mama Reagan. So here's why we typically don't see that. Like he said, we look for consistency, but also it has to do a lot with the brand you're working with. And that's the benefit of working brand direct. I mean, I really want to drive it home is how important this is. Most brands understand that they're effectively, that's how they position themselves in the marketplace, right? Like most brands typically want to be perceived as a premium brand. So they have their price set, a lot of the brands we carry have MAP pricing, which means minimum advertised pricing. If you price it below that, you're breaking the rules.
I was reading that, because you can't actually tell somebody legally, you can't tell them you can't price it under, but you could set standards with the marketing, right?
Well, you can. Okay, let's say as a manufacturer, if I tell you, hey, Steve, don't sell this below $19.95, and you sell it for $18.95, I can't do anything about that, but I can choose not to sell to you again.
Okay.
So that's one of the tools they have to enforce pricing. Secondly, we like to build that relationship with our manufacturers and explain to them, realistically, you want your product sold at MSRP because it gives your product a better perceived value, that it's actually worth the money, and it also gives your brick and mortars breathing room. Brick and mortars need that margin, so it's going to help you in brick and mortar as well. And when you start developing those type of relationships where you have the comfort levels to talk to them, they really want to work with you, and they're going to talk to their other vendors and get them in line. Like we try to deal with highly restricted brands.
And they wouldn't want their prices of their items chopped down too much, because eventually it's going to run into their margins. Like, they're not in business. Correct me if I'm wrong, but these brands aren't in business to sell their items directly to the consumer. Do a lot of these brands try to find the wholesalers like you, because you guys can move the big product? And if they allow their MSRP to get chopped down too much, there's not going to be that 40% or 50% off discount for the wholesalers. Am I on the right track with that?
Right. I mean, that protects their long-term brand image. And that's how they're able to establish that is, whenever they go to a brick and mortar, let's say they go to something like an ASD where they're really wanting to target brick and mortars, and somebody comes up to their booth and it's that product's being sold wholesale for $10, and it's supposed to be $20 online, and somebody looks at it and it's like, hey man, this is like $13 on Amazon. Like, I can't sell this in my store. Like, it really hurts their brand to have their product being destroyed online.
Makes a lot of sense. So we're at the halfway mark right now. So if you guys are enjoying this show, what can they do, man? You've heard me shout it out before. What can they do?
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button. It lets us know we're doing a good job. I say it over and over again, but as a content creator, you know, we need our ego fed a little bit. So let us know we're doing well. If you don't like it, that's fine. You could dislike it. Just let us know what we can do to improve these videos for you guys. But we're at the halfway mark, so we definitely appreciate you guys watching. There's some questions coming in, and if you guys have any questions, drop them down below. We're going to be here to help you guys out as much as we can. Ganti Murti is asking a question. Does the course cover 1, U.S. manufacturers, 2, U.S. wholesalers for goods manufacturers, and 3, U.S. wholesalers who I don't even know what that word is, from China and other countries? So maybe the first one, U.S. manufacturers and U.S. wholesalers. Do you guys cover that?
We don't. I mean, we teach people how to find it. We don't buy from wholesalers. We teach people how to identify opportunities and go directly. So if like for example, if I told you a wholesaler that we use, I would just be telling you a brand name. Like I would be like, hey, Steve, Gold Bond. I mean, it's really simple. I mean, we don't go try to find people who sell lots of different stuff. We work with the brand directly.
How would you go about sourcing DVDs? And would you ever go about that? Trevor Stevens is asking. If you were to go after them directly from a manufacturer, how would you even consider it?
I'm pretty sure with DVDs that you have to go through distributors. Like I don't think you can contact Miramax, for example. I don't know. Is that even a real place?
No, that's a studio. See, and they own the content, and then there'll be somebody that presses it, and then the distributor puts it out. So I imagine distributor's the highest level on the acquisition chain.
Sure. So I mean, I'm pretty sure that's about the highest level that you can get there is going to distributors. And honestly, that's the one category we're not ungated in, and have never really sold anything in.
Somebody made a comment, problem solved. I love that name. Made a comment. I'm not sure what context this is, but the comment states, there's nothing stopping RA sellers coming in, dropping the price.
Sure. Well, I mean, if the RA sellers can get enough, like let's say there's 5 sellers and I'm targeting, products that are selling for me 90 times a month. That means this product is selling 450 times a month. And so, that's what, is that 50 times a day or 15 times a day? So if an RA seller can sustain sales of 15 plus a day for a long enough period of time to actually affect the price, then they did it way better than we ever could, and they're going to do great things.
And I would also beg to differ. Like here's the thing. If you've been watching Amazon recently, brand gatings are starting to become a real thing. And I promise you will never ever get ungated doing RA on a brand. It's just not going to happen. And
can't you buy it for like $1,500 or something?
Who are you begging to differ with? Me? Well, I didn't say that. I was making a hyperbole. Like
them with problem solved.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Sorry, gloves back on.
Gloves off. But brand gatings are a real problem. And then you also have, I mean, if you guys have been paying attention to how many infringement notifications people are getting for selling products, like IP infringement, where you're selling products without brand's permission, and those are warnings from Amazon. So that's another problem. That's one of the values of wholesale is we're working directly with them, and they know that we're a valued seller.
I feel bad for the RA sellers who are not very organized with their receipts, because let's just say you're a thrifter, right? Or you're doing retail arbitrage, and you get that counterfeit claim coming in. What do you do if you don't have the receipt and you can't prove it, right? Like, I mean, that scared the crap out of me for so long with RA.
Yeah, I mean,
that was a mess.
And it's the thing too is like this. I don't want to beat private label up too much, but that kind of segues into in the sense of like another reason we prefer another layer of insulation wholesale provides over private label is I'm not the manufacturer on record. If a consumer has a bad experience with a private label product, you're getting sued, not me.
And good luck getting
with the wholesale. Like if something, the brand owner is who is getting sued, not me. I didn't manufacture this product for consumption in the United States. So I didn't have to pass the standards. The manufacturer did all that. And so with private label, now granted, it's very rare. This is not a scare tactic at all. This is just what I'm saying. Another one of those corner case multiple, because if it did happen, it would be detrimental. but I understand it's like less than 0.1% or whatever. But it's just another little thing that we enjoy about wholesale that we don't ever have to worry about with private label.
Awesome. Question. We've actually had this question come in multiple times, and I want to ask you guys right now. Where was it? Oh yeah. What's the typical ROI on a wholesale product? Let's start from square one. Let's just say you're selling an item for $100. We're just going to say that just to make it easy. Say you're selling it for 100. Say you're going to sell it for $100 on Amazon. What do you want to get that for? So the question is, what are the typical discounts you get as a wholesaler? I heard it was around 40%. Maybe it's more or less. And what's your typical ROI on that? So let's say you get it for 60 and sell it for 100. What are you typically leaving the table with in terms of profit?
More typical is Keystone pricing, which is 50%.
So if it's $100 MSRP,
$50 would be the discount we were getting from the wholesaler. Pretty standard margin. I mean, honestly, it gets a lot better right there when you're talking about selling stuff for $100. Like if you can keep that ASP, your margins improve pretty drastically.
ASP equals average selling price.
Yeah, but like with standard Amazon fees, that would be that product would probably bring back about $80 ish. So you're looking at $50 and $80, which is like I said, that's a really good ROI. Now the lower average selling price items you sell, 30% is fairly standard.
Okay, cool. High Pitch, what's going on? High Pitch, good to see you. Are you able to buy from any distributor? I have found distributors almost make it a point to leave no room for profit and prefer to sell to non-resellers like big business, government, office, etc. What are your thoughts on that comment, guys?
I mean, that's exactly why we don't buy from distributors. I mean, that's
I keep forgetting.
No, it's completely fine. I mean, it's great because it really drives home the point of like that's the reason that in our first video we call it reverse sourcing wholesale, and I don't even like to call our model wholesale because even though the back end of it mirrors wholesale in terms of like quantity items being sold, but the way that we source them is reversed to normal acceptable thinking. And the way we even started was at trade shows with distributors with these accounts that are easy to acquire, and therefore there isn't any margin, because anybody can get in. So and that's we've had our share of that, and we couldn't make it work. I know people that do. I know people that go to trade shows religiously and say they make money, so good for them. But we tried and failed miserably.
There's so many different business models out there, right? For my 4 years of being an internet entrepreneur, I've succeeded and I've failed in multiple things. And I've realized that the things I've succeeded with, there was 10 other ways to succeed. And the things I failed with and I said it didn't work for me, somebody else made it work because they had a different model. So, it just goes to prove the point. Gonti's asking another question. Big G asking, so do we find the manufacturer and wholesalers by searching Google? How can I tell if a wholesale merchant is of good standing? Would the course that you guys are launching cover how to filter the bad wholesalers?
Well, the video, if you watch the videos, it'll show you exactly how we target a product. And then once we've targeted one, let's say we found a product, because we do our sourcing and looking, scouting for products on Amazon. So we found a product that we think would,
it fits our criteria.
Right. That looks great. And so now we want to find the brand owner manufacturer. And yes, that's exactly what we do. We Google. I mean, Amazon gives you the information right there. You can see on the packaging who this is manufactured by, who owns this. And I do a simple Google search for, company X. It has a website and a contact us button or a wholesale opportunities button or whatever. And it just goes from there.
Right. And I mean, as far as dealing with somebody in standing, I mean, you're contacting the actual company who owns that product.
Right.
I mean, could they theoretically go out of business? Yes. But I mean, honestly, we have never once had any issue.
What do you say to the people? Because there were some people that I was talking to, and it seems like there's like a big group that are like all for courses. And then there's like a big group of people that are like, I would never pay for a course. It's not worth it. All the information's out there. I have my opinion. I've been strong about it my entire time being on YouTube and Facebook. I'm very for courses because it saves time. And I think time is one of the most precious things that you can never get back. But what would you say to somebody who's like, you know what? whether it's your course or another course, they're like, you know what, I could learn wholesale on my own. I don't need to take a course. What are your thoughts on that, guys?
I think it really depends. It's goal dependent. I mean, obviously we're pro course. We've spent tens of thousands of dollars on courses because we're trying to build a business. And as you say, time is one of the most precious commodities for us. So it was the monetary investment for the return and time saved and experience gained, well worth it for us. Now, if that's not, your aspiration, there's plenty there. I agree. There's plenty of great information out there. I'm sure they could get up and running, get kicked off. But for us, it was just the monetary versus time. We wanted to get to be on this level where we're at today, talking to you as fast as possible. And, aggregated information delivered in an understandable fashion by people that have had that experience, to me, no brainer. But I can definitely understand somebody that's just trying to, maybe make a couple, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 to take their family on a couple extra vacations a year, or just, just have a nice little living. That's fine too. There's nothing. So whatever your goals and aspirations are is what I would suggest you really decide and then see, because it may not be worth it monetarily for you.
Depends where you are, right? I would say if you have more money than time, go with a course all day long. I invest in so many courses now because I've been able to obviously build up my nest egg as time has gone on. But when I first got started, guys, I was very against it. Not that I didn't love researching it, but I didn't have much money and it wasn't smart. So for the folks out there who did mention, pro course or non-pro, whatever, look at where you are today, right? Think about how you stand monetarily, and
yeah, you shouldn't be purchasing our course or any course if it's going to make an impact on your day-to-day decisions and your day-to-day operation. If it's a chunk of your entire capital that's going to affect,
right? If it's going to prevent you from buying product and operating your business, don't do it.
No way. I mean, that's a terrible idea. So yeah, because I know that we're it's easy to get caught up in what we've done and what other people have done, and that's fantastic. But you got to understand, it does take money too. It does take a lot hard work. It takes time, but it also does take some amount of money. So if you're going to set aside and spend money that's going to take away from your ability to actually grow your business, then you just cut your legs off, and it doesn't do any good at all.
Do you mind if I put you guys in the hot seat for a little bit and ask you some questions that a lot of people don't typically ask?
I don't mind.
What would you say separates your course versus other courses? Have you gone through any other wholesale courses, or what are you so proud about with your course where you because I've sold courses of my own and products, and it's a tough thing to do. You really got to believe in it. What separates your course from other courses, or why do you believe in it so much?
I'm gonna go first, and I've got two of them, and then I'll hand it off to Dan. So for me, it really allows you to scale at whatever level you want to, whether you're the person trying to make you an extra $25,000, $50,000, or accumulate to the business level that we're on. And it's literally the things that we have learned, put out directly to you guys, to the
experience,
to the students. And which leads me to the second part is it also changes. It's funny because now we're sitting here talking about how much more successful we are now that we've decided to go to brand owners and tell them, disclose straight away we're on Amazon, but we're the best Amazon partner possible. We really pitched the idea of we know Amazon and we're good at Amazon. But one of our first tactics, which also was obviously successful in our growth, but was to tell them we sold on all these channels. Hey, I can put your product on Jet. But the problem is we weren't following through with that. So it was just lip service, and that goes counterintuitive that we know now to building a long-term brand relationship. So what I'm saying is that, our vision and success and things as they grow, that gets disseminated straight away into the course. It's an ongoing, evolving thing. And as you said, we've got, 4 or 5 module updates that'll be going in within the next week that are things that we've learned since the last launch in July and things that we're implementing now. So those are the two things that I'm personally most proud of.
I mean, honestly, the thing that I'm most proud of is it is a direct reflection of our business. It doesn't try to be anything that it's not.
Yeah, and we don't try to cover everything. Like we tell you, we don't have any experience with that.
Right. I mean, I'm not out of with. If you're looking for bundling, not going to be in our course. Right. We don't do it in our business.
And it's not that it's bad. It's just I'm not going to advise you on something.
We don't do. That's the thing I love about that's one of the things I love about it is it's authentic. The second part of it is that we have worked tirelessly to make it as direct as possible without fluff and junk in it. I mean, our videos, we have there are a lot of videos, but they're 2, 4, 5 minute videos.
They're very organized, each video.
And it's because when we wrote them and started trying to come up with the ideas and put them on paper, we whittled it down to make it as fast and direct as possible, to make sure that people got the information and didn't have to wade through a bunch of junk. So it's not a volume for volume type of course.
So we talked about who this course is for. It's for someone who's obviously committed, someone who's serious, somebody who, wants to make it happen, save time, somebody who's not financially burdened, right? Who's this course not for, right? Because a lot of times, people will interview folks who have a course for sale, and it's always the good. But who would you say shouldn't buy this course? Just being 100% transparent.
Right off the top, it was the person I was talking about earlier. Like if purchasing our course is going to affect your day-to-day operations and your buying decisions, and this no way that's going to just be awful. And not just our course, that's any investment really.
Right. If you're taking next month's rent money, don't do it. Like, it's not, there's no easy button. There's no course that's going to just I bought the course and now I'm going to make tons of money.
Right.
Like,
that's the thing too. Is like, with our course or any course, there's not an immediate return. It's a long-term thing. You've got to learn it, implement it, get experience, and these are things that'll grow. But it's something that does, just like a germinating seed or something, that has to grow. It's not something you purchase, you turn on, and now money just starts falling on you. That doesn't happen anywhere. And if anybody tells you otherwise, it's as far as I can tell, in my 38 years, it's a complete lie.
It's been the same way when I started my Kindle publishing business. I invested in courses, I invested money, and it took a lot of time. And even now, I started a new Shopify business, guys. I took some courses, I've been investing, and I still, am in the hole in a sense, because I'm in a hole. Exactly. I'm not making any money yet because it takes time. So the course definitely isn't cheap, but I believe that anything that's of value takes an investment, and your course is definitely going to be an investment. But I've been going through it. I've only scratched the surface, to be 100% honest. But I've been going through it. And it's super informative. And a lot of the leaders in this reselling industry back you up. And I've talked to people and I've heard some success stories. So we're fully behind it. Bonafide Hustler is supposed to be on this video, but he's having some issues coming on. So this is a green room contribution, but we are an affiliate and we are backing it up. So if you guys are interested in this course, it's launching tonight, midnight. And we're going to be giving away some bonuses. Do you guys mind if I mention some of the bonuses that we're going to be giving away?
No, but before you do, I'm actually going to clarify a little bit for anybody. You can purchase the third video, and purchase will happen tonight at midnight. But with your link, they can go right now for anybody that hasn't and watch video 1 and video 2 that leads into video 3, and then being able to purchase, which is happening at midnight. But the 1 and 2 are already up there, and if you get over there, that's some great information to start. Go ahead and get the juices flowing. But yeah, so let's hear this. I know it's going to be a great package. So let's
I'm excited for it.
Yeah,
cool. I've never done this before, so should definitely be exciting. So if you guys do purchase the course tonight, it's being offered at midnight. So if you go through the links below, it's going to be the free training. Once you get to video 3, which will be linked up on a link I'll put down below, you'll be able to purchase it. But we're giving away a bunch of different things. Number one is we're actually giving away a free year to our Green Room community, which is a community with over 900 people. And it's not only a community, but we have an entire website with free training, free videos, free courses, free books. It's pretty crazy over there. There's a lot of information. And, the biggest thing that I've noticed of people who succeed and fail are the people who fail, they're trying to do it all by themselves. They're trying to figure it all out. And it's so important to be around a community. And that's why I'm a really firm believer in courses. And, just recently I spent over $1,000 just going to a Tony Robbins seminar, because you got to invest in yourself. That's the only thing someone can't take away from us. So bonus number 1 is 1 year. 1 year membership to the Green Room. If you're already a Green Room member, we're going to throw an extra year on for you. So that's $197 value. Number 2, we're going to be giving away the Ultimate Accounting and Bookkeeping Workshop that we did with Anna Hill. Do you guys know Anna?
We do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's a freaking awesome woman. She's a CPA, but not only a CPA, she's an e-commerce seller with eBay and Amazon and Etsy experience. Well, we did a 5-week boot camp workshop with her, and we've got those 5 videos all accumulated, and we're going to be giving that away as well. So that's $147 value. And as you guys know, you can make all the money in the world, But if you don't got your books in line and you ain't paying your taxes, it's going to be some trouble. So that's number 2. Number 3, we're going to have a bonus. We're calling it an exclusive profit maximizer webinar for Green Room members and folks who join through our affiliate link. So that's number 3. That's a $97 value. Number 4, we're giving away a ticket to our Green Room event. So once you purchase the course, you'll become a member of the Green Room. And once a year, we have a live meetup. And it's actually July 15th this year. And we're giving a ticket to the dinner, a ticket to the event, which this year it might cost upwards to $100 because we have a lot of cool things planned. And the last thing we're giving away is our program called 30 Days of Bolos, which is a 30-day course that shares with you a new item to be on the lookout for each and every day. So without going into too much detail, man, we have a lot of crazy things.
That's on action.
I feel like I'm on an infomercial, man. I've never done this before.
You know, I didn't want to bring this up, but now that you got the bonuses out there, do we get some sort of like swag bag, maybe with all those bonuses just come to us for being a guest? That'd be pretty sweet.
I tell you, man, we might have to work something out, but we're excited about this. I'm excited to continue going through the course myself. I'm excited to continue to help the community, and you know, I've got over 1,000 videos and I interact with hundreds of thousands of people on a monthly basis. And one of the biggest problems that I'm seeing, and not only am I seeing it, but it's a problem that I was dealing with, is time. You know, thrifting, hitting Goodwills and Salvation Armies and garage sales. Like, that's how I started. Like, that's how I quit my job. Like, that's like, I'll never forget that. But I've gotten to the point now where it's consumed my life, and it was so time consuming, and I was having trouble building the freedom into my life that I wanted and scaling my business. And I had to start looking for other things. And I looked into private label and it didn't really work for me. There was a bunch of issues I don't want to talk about now, but mostly liability. And I looked into different things like Shopify, which I started now, but I've been searching for something that I could scale, that is scalable, that could allow me to have my freedom. And while I love thrifting, I'm not trying to bash it or anything. I think wholesale is a great solution to a lot of people's problems. And that's why myself and the Green Room, we've backed you guys so strongly because A, we've heard many good things about you, and B, the course is amazing from what I've heard and from what I've gone through it. And C, I think it's really going to help a lot of people out. So if you guys want to get it, check the links below. If you can't afford it, that's fine. It's not right for you. It's fine. There's the free training videos that they graciously provided down below. So what are the free videos provide for the folks who just want some free training?
The first video is all about the reverse sourcing wholesale. That's the principal concept of our entire business. Like, if you can really just get started with that, I promise you, the concept is amazing. The video number 2 is about how we analyze products, and if you just utilize those 2 things, you can definitely be successful. Like, those 2 things can lead you there.
Even if wholesale doesn't seem that exciting to you, or something you're not ready for right now, I'll promise if you sell it at all anyway on Amazon, you'll get some great information from those videos that you'll be able to apply, or at least not even realize. So when you're going forward with whatever business model it is that you're pursuing right now, guaranteed that it's going to be beneficial to you.
Yeah,
and it's the right price, $0.
Yeah, guys. I mean, if you're looking for a change, I mean, you're going to have to make a change eventually. There's going to be a day and time where you're going to have to do something differently. And, for the longest time for me, when I was 18, 19, 20, I was hanging out with the wrong people, and, I was doing the wrong things, and I kept getting the same results. And, I ended up going to college, and I did some things differently. I started working different jobs. I started getting experience. I started switching things up. And then I found the YouTube community and met all these amazing people. And the point I'm trying to make is you've got to do something differently. You've got to go out there, whether it's taking a new course or go to a meetup or go through the free videos or whatever. Do something differently, because if you want, you've got to take the time now. Somebody mentioned in the comments the 4-Hour Work Week. Great book to read, guys. If you want to change your mindset up to the endless possibilities out there, look into the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. Amazing book. And I think wholesale, if Tim Ferriss was here, and he didn't really mention in that book the FBA wholesale model too much, but if that, maybe one day we'll get you guys to help him with the revised edition in like 2020. Tim Ferriss would agree with that model.
If there is a 4-hour work week model on Amazon, it is Wholesale.
It's crazy to think of the way that you think of wholesale traditionally. It's not scalable. You have to be a large operation operating in a huge facility, and now the outsourceability of it is just mind-boggling. Really, like you don't even have to see or touch your products in this day and age, and just it's crazy.
And I want to clarify, I don't mean that you're only going to work 4 hours with this business. And even Tim Ferriss admits the 4-hour work week, the point of it isn't to work 4 hours, but it's to be able to work 4 hours if you want to be able to work 4 hours a week and travel the world and have your freedom. And, let me ask you a question, guys. Would you rather work? I ask this question to my friends now and then, but I'm going to ask you, Eric, first, because you're smiling. I want to see what your answer is, but you got to promise to be 100% honest.
All right. You got it.
And folks in the comments, I want you to answer this as well. Would you rather make $250,000 profit per year and work 80 hours a week, stressed out? Or would you rather make $70,000 a year and work 10 hours a week?
I mean, that's easy for me. 70K and 10 hours a week. Like, I mean,
me all day long, same answer.
Yeah. No, it's not even close for me.
70K and 10 hours.
So let us know in the comments, guys. What would you rather do? And there's no right or wrong answer, right?
Right.
This is gonna be based on your personality, but this is why I like the wholesale model. This is why I like the private label model. This is why I've started up my own Shopify store, because I'm looking more towards that. It's not right, it's not wrong, but if your personality fits that and you want to build more freedom, you want to have a business that's scalable, you want to have a business that doesn't have as much liability, right? Might be for you. So any closing notes that you guys want to say? Anything else you want to mention? There's a lot of 70Ks coming in. Holy moly. We got some hustlers in the house.
Yeah, that's the thing. And it's like, as you framed it, I'd already thought to myself, what am I going to do with, I can invest that 70K doing something else the rest of the time, for a couple more hours a week and turn that 70K into 700, because that's just how I would do it, but you're limited at 80K work or 80-hour work week, or even, a lot of your 40-hour jobs that take it out of you. Your salary is your limit. That's your potential. That's it. You've reached it, but with only 10 hours invested, each week, if I want to, take off and travel the world, great. That's fine. I can do that. Right. But now I've got time to turn that 70K into, whatever potential I want.
Now, would you rather make $1 million at 100 hours? No, I'm just kidding. Somebody goes, I'd rather make 140K at 20 hours.
Yeah.
Split the difference.
Yeah, but no, I mean, to close out, just check these videos out. We're very proud of them, and we feel like there's a lot of great content and value in there, regardless if you're interested in wholesale or not. Just if you sell on the Amazon platform at all, I promise you it'll open your eyes and make you look at things from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Dan, Eric, appreciate you guys coming on. It was definitely a blast. Appreciate everybody watching live. We had well over 190 people watching live the whole show. So yeah, a lot of value. If you guys watching enjoyed this show, smash that like button. Definitely appreciate that. Leave a comment below. Be sure to check out the comment section below in this YouTube video. There's going to be a link to the free training videos. And then there's also going to be a link to the special $500 offer I have, which is pretty much just a landing page that's going to bring you to the third video, which is going to give you the ability to purchase the course. The course is going to be open for a week, you guys said?
Yeah, Thursday.
We close enrollment down. He talked about it earlier. We really do that because we feel like it gives us the best ability to help people grow.
And that's just not some internet marketing nonsense, because I tried to sell the course. You can't sell the course. It's closed for two. It's open 2 times out of the year for a week, right? So if you guys want in, get in. And now's your opportunity. You're gonna have 2 instructors who have been around the block. It's all set out for you. It's up to you to take action and make a change in your life. So if that's what you want, go make it happen. Eric, Dan,
pleasure.
Thank you so much. You guys watching, thank you. See you guys in the next video, and have an amazing day.